Is it the journalist's role or the press's role to be kind?
To be kind?
Because the press also sometimes has to look into things, be tough. Can't always be kind.
What you saw it happen to Lady Diana, you tell me. There should be some boundaries, some kind of way. The star needs some space. Give him a chance to relax. He has a heart. He's human.
Michael Jackson wasn't always the quiet, mysterious superstar people imagined him to be. When he was comfortable, he could be incredibly playful, sarcastic, and surprisingly quick with his responses. And sometimes, when an interviewer pushed a little too hard, Michael had a way of answering that made the entire moment unforgettable.
How do you feel about all the stories?
Not the truth. 99.9% of it is not the truth. And don't read it, don't believe it, it's garbage. It's tabloid junk. I mean, they just simply make it up for greed and money. So please don't listen to it. It's trash.
When Oprah sat down with Michael Jackson in 1993, she came prepared with some very personal questions. But Michael didn't always give her the dramatic reaction she might have expected. Sometimes he laughed, sometimes he looked genuinely amused by the question, and sometimes his short responses made the whole exchange even more awkward for the interviewer.
I'm going to ask you this, and it's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you a virgin?
How could you ask me that question?
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman.
You're a gentleman.
I'm a gentleman.
So
I'm a gentleman.
So, okay, I would interpret that to mean that means that you believe that a lady is a lady, and therefore...
That's something that's private. I mean, you know, shouldn't be spoken about openly. You can call me old-fashioned if you want, but, you know, to me that's very personal.
So you're not going to answer it?
I'm embarrassed.
What makes this interview even better is that Michael could completely change the mood without saying much at all. Oprah could be asking one of the most serious questions imaginable, and Michael would suddenly start laughing or smiling. It was almost as if he was silently saying, "You're really asking me this."
How to sing it, wait.
Yeah. And when you are, for instance, when we were here before, you know what? I mean, all the things ever printed in the tabloid, the only thing's ever been true is when they said I couldn't dance. When we were here the last time shooting the commercial, you were like in between shots, running off, conceiving the dance, choreographing the dance. You were up all night dancing.
Chris Tucker has shared some of the funniest and most heartwarming stories about his friendship with Michael Jackson, revealing just how playful Michael could be away from the spotlight. One of their most memorable moments happened when the two decided to go to the movies together. Michael wanted to experience a normal night out, but going to a public movie theater was obviously not exactly simple for one of the most famous people on the planet. Chris recalled how they tried to make the outing work while keeping Michael from being immediately recognized, creating an experience that was both hilarious and surreal.
Well, I had so much fun. It's a blessing to be able to know him. And Michael's like a king. He was like a modern day king. And we did a lot of fun stuff. I used to just, you know, I couldn't wait to hang out with him when he had a chance, when we had the chance to. But we would do stuff like go to the movies. And Michael was so famous, he had to disguise himself. And we would come downstairs, I'd be like, "Where's Michael?" And Michael would be covered up like, "I'm over here, Chris, I'm here, Chris." I said, "Michael, that's you?" "Yeah, Chris." I said, "I thought we was going to the movies. You're not even dressed." "I am dressed, Chris." "I just can't go in the movies. We got to disguise it a little bit." I said, "Okay." So we go in the movies, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm trying to be secret too. You know, I'm hiding myself. Then Michael laughing louder than anybody. Everybody know Michael's laughing. He's like, I was like, "Michael, shut up. They're gonna find you in here. It's gonna be a riot." "No, they won't."
What makes Chris's stories so entertaining is the contrast between Michael's superstar status and the ordinary things he wanted to enjoy. Michael could perform in front of tens of thousands of people, yet he also wanted to sit down, watch a movie, laugh with his friend, and enjoy a few hours without being treated like the king of pop. Chris has described Michael as someone who genuinely loved having fun and could be incredibly funny when he felt comfortable.
One time we went to a mall. We was out. Michael wanted to go to the record store or something, and he forgot he was famous. He was like, "I gotta go to the mall." "Go to the mall." And we find, "So Michael, you can't go in the mall, man. You forgot who you are." He said, "Well, let's go." And it was only thing was in the car was a Spider-Man mask. So Michael said, "I'll put this on. We'll go in and we get." I said, "Michael, you can't do that." Spider-Man ain't gonna just be walking through the mall. Ain't nobody. They gonna know it's you, Michael. He's like, "No, he won't. Chris, it'll work. It'll work." We go in the mall, and he was getting away with it until people figured it out, because I was with him, and he was like, Chris, is that Michael Jackson? That Spider-Man mask, man? No, that's Spider-Man. That's Michael Jackson. All of a sudden, the mall went crazy, and they had to scoot us out. You should have seen it.
Oh, my God.
It was great. We had a lot of fun, though. He was great.
I never got a chance to meet him, but I heard he had a great sense of humor, that he was a lot of fun.
He would laugh at me all the time, because I would talk, and I guess, he just laughed the way I talk. I was like, hey, Michael. He was like, so you're so country. You're so country.
You're so country? Is that what
he's been talking about that? Don't be talking about me.
Don't be calling me country.
Don't talk about me like that. Hey, he's fun.
Well, Chris Tucker has also shared some hilarious stories about Michael Jackson's generosity, especially when Michael noticed that Chris liked something. According to Chris, Michael had a habit of seeing something his friend enjoyed and then simply getting it for him. It could be something Chris mentioned in passing, but Michael would remember it and turn it into a gift that made their friendship even more memorable, because Michael wasn't just generous in a flashy way. He actually paid attention to the little things his friends liked.
I would say I like something, he would give it to me. And I said, Michael, I like that big screen TV. He was like, you like it, Chris? I said, yeah, I like it. He said, do you love it? I said, I love it. Next day I go home, Michael would send the TV to my house. I said, Michael, thank you.
Wow.
But I was like, Michael is nice and rich.
But Michael's personality changed depending on who was sitting across from him. When he faced more serious interviewers such as Barbara Walters, he often became much more careful. Yet even then, there were moments when Michael refused to be pushed into giving the dramatic response an interviewer might have been looking for.
When you came into this hotel, you had to come in, or you felt you had to come in through the kitchen.
I've been doing it for years. In many lobbies, I've never seen the front door. Never.
Did you ever try to outrace the paparazzi?
To outrace them?
Yes.
They follow you. They chase us on the scooter.
Cutting in front of you?
Yeah, and I have to say to the driver, I say, slow down. I jump in. I said, it's gonna kill us. I say, slow down. I've done that many times. Gonna kill us. So he jumps out of the car and yells at these people.
You know, there is that argument that you rely on publicity to sell your albums, for your concerts.
When I approve
you
of
want
something,
it.
yes.
But you can't always control the press. You can't approve of everything. You can't invite them in again and again, and then at a certain point, close them out.
Yes, you can.
Well, how do you do that? What is that line?
And by doing that, this is their time for this, and this you should not do. You should not say he's an animal. Should not say he's Jacko. I'm not a Jacko. I'm Jackson.
Instead of getting angry, Michael often used another strategy. Keep calm, answer what you want to answer, and don't give the interviewer more than necessary. That might not sound savage at first, but it actually made some of his exchanges more powerful. He didn't have to argue with someone to make it clear that a particular question wasn't going to control the conversation.
How do you feel when they call you
Wacko Jacko? Where'd that come from?
Well,
some English tabloid. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice. Don't do it. I'm not a wacko.
There are those who would say that you add to the attention.
No, I don't.
Well, the masks, the mysterious behavior.
There's no mysterious behavior. There's a time when I give a concert, I like to have as many people want to come can come and enjoy the show. And there's a time where you like to be in private when you put on your pajamas, go to sleep, cut off the light, ding, and lay down. That's your private space. If you go in the park, I can't go in the park. So I create my own park at Neverland, my own water space, my movie theater, my theme park. That's all for me to enjoy.
Barbara Walters then shifted the conversation toward Michael Jackson's appearance, asking about his distinctive clothing, makeup, and overall look. It was a very personal topic, especially because Michael's style had become one of the most recognizable in the world. Rather than getting defensive, Michael calmly explained his choices and gave viewers a glimpse into why he presented himself the way he did.
I don't want this to sound insulting. I'm just going to be straight with you. But you are somewhat eccentric, to say the least. The way you dress, the way you look, it invites attention. The whole appearance as you grew up was larger than life, more extreme. You don't think that calls the paparazzi to you?
No.
No?
No. Maybe I like to live that way. I like to dress that way. I don't want paparazzi, really. But if they come, Be kind. Write the right kind thing to write.
Then there was Elizabeth Taylor, one of Michael's closest friends. Their friendship itself was unusual enough to attract constant attention, but Elizabeth never seemed interested in playing along with the rumors. When asked about Michael, she often turned the conversation around completely and described him as intelligent, generous, funny, and far less strange than people assumed. Michael Jackson and Elizabeth Taylor shared an incredibly close friendship, and one moment perfectly captured just how comfortable they were around each other. Michael once sang for Elizabeth completely a cappella, without a stage, instruments, or an audience, just his voice. Hearing one of the greatest singers in the world casually sing for someone he considered a close friend makes the moment feel incredibly personal. Elizabeth's reaction also shows just how much she admired Michael's talent, turning what could have been an ordinary moment between friends into something unforgettable.
Now, Michael Jackson singing a cappella to Elizabeth Taylor. It's the candid phone call you've never heard, captured on tape. We have the lost video for this ET exclusive.
It's Michael Jackson in a rare home movie singing a Doobie Brothers classic. Why? He secretly sang backup for the group and others back in the day.
People always say, you sound like Michael Jackson. They don't realize it's me singing those parts.
Michael, in an unguarded moment, is actually on a private phone call with his dear friend Elizabeth Taylor, whose picture sits beside him on the table. Jackson, dressed in a sparkly blue jacket with a white t-shirt underneath, is sitting in his home.
Remember this one? Minute by minute by minute by, I keep holding on. I keep holding on. I keep holding on.
Michael also had some unexpectedly funny exchanges with Molly Meldrum. Molly Meldrum brought a much more relaxed energy, which gave Michael room to joke around rather than constantly defend himself. These are the moments where you can see Michael's personality becoming much more spontaneous.
Realizing that, but does it not put pressure on you? I mean, that you have to be,
Well, it always-
hold you in such esteem, right?
It always does. The next album has to be better than the other.
Well, how do you cope with all the hysteria? I mean, wherever you go, whether it's London, whether it's Munich, whether it's New York, whether it's Bangkok, whether it's Japan, and even here in Australia, how do you cope with the hysteria?
I know it's all love, so it makes my heart very happy. And I like to give it back, to however I can give. And it puts a smile on my face to see all the children and all the teenagers and the adults, the demographics. It makes my heart very, very happy. I love them. I love all the fans very much.
The interesting thing about Michael in these situations is that he didn't need an elaborate punchline. Sometimes his facial expression, laugh, or the way he reacted to a question was enough. He could turn an ordinary question into a funny moment simply by being completely unpredictable.
Well, coping with the hysteria, I mean, I can't cope with it. I mean, watching all of this going on around, I mean, the press have been absolutely manic. It's been manic mania. Can I ask you, do you ever relax? Does Michael Jackson ever relax? Because I know you're a workaholic.
Yes, I am a workaholic. I don't relax, really. I don't sleep a lot. I like to continually, my mind never stops. I'm always creating. I never stop. But I love a good water balloon fight or, playing around, goofing off, Nintendo games, arcades.
Now, Michael, I have to ask you this question. Being possibly the biggest profile in the world, I guess Princess Diana matches you. You read all these amazing stories about Michael Jackson. I mean, I don't know whether they're true or not. You read that Michael Jackson's a weirdo. You read that Michael Jackson's bizarre. You read that he's done this, he's done that. Now, I know some of those stories are not true because, I mean, even I was accused of being at your wedding, and I knew that wasn't true. But how do you cope? How do you feel about all the stories that are written about you?
It's very sad. I just want the fans to know and to understand that it's not the truth.
Michael Jackson once surprised Zack Efron with an unexpected phone call, and the story was so bizarre that Zack could hardly believe it himself. Zack had been performing and suddenly found himself receiving a call from one of the biggest entertainers in the world. For someone who had grown up watching Michael, hearing his voice on the other end of the phone was already surreal. But what made the story even more memorable was the completely unexpected way the conversation unfolded.
No, I talked to him on the phone.
Yeah, so how did that happen?
How did it happen? I was I was in Paris, and I was with Kenny Ortega. We were promoting High School Musical 3, I want to say it was. I was probably 20, maybe 20, 21 at the time. And we were at dinner, and somehow I was at the head of the table, and Kenny was on the other side of the table, our director, Kenny Ortega. And his phone rang, and I remember I got this look like, you want this phone call? And I was like, okay. So I came over, and I was like, what's going on? He goes, it's Michael Jackson. I'm like, what? And he hands me the phone, and I was like, hello? And I heard, hi, who's this? And I was like, this is Zack Efron. I'm a massive fan, and I'm an actor, and you're like my hero. And I didn't know what to say. I was like I was just at a loss for words and rambling on. And then he said, that's really nice. Can you hand the phone back to Kenny?
Zack explained that Michael had seen him perform and apparently wanted to reach out personally. Instead of this being some formal celebrity-to-celebrity introduction, it turned into a genuinely unexpected conversation. Zack was clearly caught off guard by the fact that Michael Jackson had actually taken the time to call him. Imagine seeing Michael's name come up on your phone and wondering if someone was playing a joke on you.
I was freaking out. Like, I just talked to Michael Jackson. He's my hero. I was tripping. And I sat back down, just a little dizzy, and then all of a sudden the phone rang again. And Kenny answered, and I saw him kind of confused across the table. And he like looked at me again. He's like, "Do you want us to get the phone?" And I was like, "Okay." And he hands the phone to me. He goes, "It's Michael Jackson again." And I was like, oh, "What? Okay." And I picked up the phone. I was like, "Hello?" And he goes, "Oh, this is Zack from High School Musical." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, I love what you do. I'm a huge fan. I love what you do." And I lost it. I just lost it. I lost my balance. I think I fell over into the wall. I was like, "Do you know who I am?"
What makes the story especially entertaining is Zack's reaction. Rather than treating the call like just another Hollywood interaction, he described it with the kind of excitement you'd expect from someone who had just received a call from one of his childhood idols. Michael had reached a point in his career where almost everyone knew who he was, yet he could still surprise another famous entertainer simply by picking up the phone. The story also shows a more personal side of Michael. He wasn't just someone who appeared on television or performed in front of enormous crowds. He could watch another performer, appreciate what they were doing, and then actually reach out to them. For Zack, that unexpected phone call became a story worth remembering and sharing years later. And honestly, if Michael Jackson randomly called you after watching you perform, that's probably a phone call you'd never forget either. It was one of those completely unexpected celebrity moments that sounds almost too strange to be true, but that's exactly what made it so entertaining.
I was a mess. Like, literally, I was just making a fool out of myself. I like slid down to the floor pathetically and professed how much I loved him. Said, like, "You're my hero. You're the reason I do what I do. Like, thank you so much, Michael, for everything. And thanks for showing me how to dance, how to be, you know, how to believe in myself, how to I don't know, how to shine, you know?" And that made him cry. They were both crying to each other on the phone. And he ended the whole phone call conversation with something along the lines of, "Hey, Zack." And I like stopped crying for a second. He's like, isn't it awesome? And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Dreams really do come true, don't they?" And I was like, I was like, "Michael, you can't say things like that."
Eddie Murphy once found himself in a hilarious situation with Michael Jackson that sounds almost too strange to be true. Michael apparently spoke to him as though he was one of the people working for him. Michael casually looked at Eddie and said, "Eddie, pull it up," as if Eddie was supposed to immediately know what he meant. The unexpected request caught Eddie off guard and made the situation even more hilarious. What makes the story so entertaining is the complete contrast between the two celebrities. Eddie Murphy was already a massive comedy star in his own right, while Michael Jackson was one of the most recognizable entertainers on the planet. Yet somehow, Michael's casual approach made it sound like Eddie had suddenly become part of Michael's staff. There was no formal introduction or explanation, just Michael giving him an instruction and apparently expecting him to handle it.
Thank you very much, Eddie Murphy. First, I'd like to thank... Could you lift that up, please? Wait, I can't wait. Eddie, I need your help. It ain't working. Okay. Go like, bend down. First, I'd like to thank...
He said, "Eddie, pull it up like I was working for him." started to do it too. I was like, yes, Michael. Wait, what am I doing?
Eddie once revealed a surprisingly funny story about Michael Jackson and an ordinary movie night that turned into one of the most memorable moments of his friendship with the King of Pop. During an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Eddie was asked about watching the 1985 film Cocoon at Sammy Davis Jr.'s house. Eddie explained that Sammy used to host movie nights on Tuesdays, and celebrities would regularly show up. Lucille Ball, Steve, and Eddie Gourmet, and even Michael Jackson were among the stars who would be there. But Michael wasn't exactly comfortable in the crowd.
He watched Cocoon there?
He was behind the door at first because there was too many people. There's too many people in the room. He was hiding behind the door. I said, Eddie, come. And I went behind the door, and then we would stand behind the door, and I was like, what the yo? There's so many people in there.
You used to make fun of Michael on Saturday Night Live. Did you, when you met him, did you meet him before you would make fun of him?
Well, if you look at the stuff that I did on Michael, it was never mean-spirited. It was always, you know, funny stuff, because I knew him.
Right.
I never really made fun. I never made fun of him. Like,
but you imitated him.
Yeah, but I wasn't making fun of him. He was Michael, and I was doing funny Michael stuff.
Did he always talk like that in private conversations, that high-pitched Michael
No,
voice?
his voice wasn't as high like that in person.
But the story didn't end with Michael Jackson hiding behind a door at Sammy Davis Jr.'s house. Jimmy Kimmel then asked Eddie Murphy about something even more unbelievable: Michael's famous chimpanzee, Bubbles. Eddie immediately said he had met Bubbles, but what really surprised him was that Bubbles wasn't even the strangest thing about Michael's house. According to Eddie, Michael basically had a real zoo. There were giraffes, and the property was so enormous that the animals could actually walk around the grounds. For Eddie, it wasn't like visiting a celebrity's house anymore. It felt like stepping into another world.
He had Bubbles, and Michael had like a real zoo at his house, and with a big zoo with giraffes. I mean, he had a facility, a thing that was so big that giraffes was walking around and like, ugh. It was huge. And Bubbles had gotten too old. Bubbles was in a cage, like tripping, like, ah! And Michael's like, don't go near the cage. And we had dinner, though. They brought the trainer, brought the chimps in, and they were running around while we were eating dinner and running under the table. It was surreal.
So Bubbles wasn't the only chimp. There are other chimps that didn't become famous as Bubbles, yeah.
Make sure to check out our other videos on the screen.